Hello and welcome to the first episode of Swords and Sapphics, a podcast all about sapphic women, and it may include sharp objects. I'm Rachel, and this is Ivy. Fellow pansexual and bisexual besties / wifeys.
Precisely. Long distance ones, but still more real than straight people. Can I be mean to straight people during this?
I think we must. I think it's a necessity.
It is part of my personality, so
straight people, if you're listening, don't take it personally. We're just better than you.
Yeah. Like, maybe think about yourselves a little bit.
I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. I'm an author from the UK, Manchester, and I have over 10 novellas. Partners in Crime is one of them. If you're watching, it's next to me at the minute. And many of them are sapphic, many of them feature curvy women, and many of them are for working class writers as well. How about you, Ivy?
I am person. I don't do much right now. I'm jobless, so I work in marketing, which is not as exciting as writing, but I'm happy to. My life goal, the reason why I was put on this earth, was to hype Rachel up and be her number one fan.
Stop.
Let's be honest. Anyway, I'm from Prague, Czech Republic, so if you will hear me mispronouncing a lot of words or forgetting a lot of words or using bad grammar, it's because of it.
But she has better English than me, let it be known.
Well, she understands what I mean when I tell you a bunch of letters that sometimes are not even connected and would not make a word in any other scenario, but she gets me, so that's perfect.
That's because we're soulmates.
Precisely.
We decided to make this podcast because we love women, we love sapphic women, and we love knives and swords and sharp objects.
And we believe that... Sorry. And we just believe that every woman should own one, preferably strapped to her thigh.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
It's a woman's right. We support women's rights, but mostly we support women's wrongs.
I don't believe in glorification of a murder. I do believe in emancipation of women.
So we've been inspired by shows like Killing Eve, of course, which we'll get into in an episode. Books. All of the sapphic books.
I would like to say movies, but what?
There are not enough. The only sapphic
not from this
that
century.
Exist. Yeah. We have to headcanon them as sapphic, otherwise they're probably not.
Precisely. And when they are, it's from like 18th century.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some sapphic content in Dracula, I'm just saying.
In the show or the movie?
In the book, you uncultured swine. It was a book before it was a movie or a show.
I read the other book. It was written by his descendant. I read that.
Okay, let's talk about what we're obsessed with this week. Ivy, you go first.
I am currently... Well, Fortnite is the only thing that matters in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing over a month ago, and I should be having regret because it's eating half of my time, but I have none because it's amazing, and it's a great therapy to kill people. It's a video game, by the way, for those who don't know. But yeah, what about you?
And Ivy's skin is Wanda from Marvel.
One thing about me is part of my personality, the majority of my personality right now is me supporting Wanda Maximoff and the Scarlet Witch as my only god.
As you
And I will
should.
and I will work tirelessly to insert her name or Lizzie Olsen into every single conversation.
And she does.
Yeah.
Well, I too am obsessed with Fortnite at the minute. My skin is a hot witch. She has white hair, black dress, very sexy indeed.
And she's
So we've been
flaming
playing
when
that
she's
together.
healing me. Yeah.
Yeah. Apart from that, Stranger Things came out a few weeks ago. And the newest season of Stranger Things came out a few weeks ago. So, of course, I am simping for none other than Eddie Munson, who is the newest character in town. He's the dungeon master of Dungeons and Dragons. And I absolutely headcanon him as pansexual. He just gives the vibe. I feel like as a pansexual, I can recognize other pansexuals, and Eddie Munson is one. So yeah, that's where I've been at. What about music? What song have you been listening to recently?
I don't think I did. Well, I did listen to 20 seconds of one song that you sent me, which I will keep hearing about the day I die, I'm afraid. However, you did send me after the concert, or before it, this song "Let's Go Home Together," was it? And that is on
by
repeat.
Ella Henderson.
Yeah. That I listen every time I leave my apartment with headphones. However, I don't listen to many songs right now when I don't leave the house, which I don't. When I read, I listen to instrumental music, but I don't read now. I forgot how to read. I don't know what words are. So I don't listen to anything now.
I've been listening to a lot of, well, you know this. I sent her Harry Styles, Matilda, because I felt it applied to a conversation we were having a couple of weeks ago. But she would not listen to it. But I've been listening to it on repeat.
Okay, I have to explain myself here a little bit. When I was a child and One Direction was at its peak, I was taught to hate it. It was against my will. But it happened, and now I'm trying to heal from that, and it's not easy, and now I just don't care. But I did listen to 20 seconds of the song, which is more, it's just 20 seconds more than I would for anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, okay. However, I was on the other side of the spectrum. I was mocked for loving One Direction, so this cuts deep. But we're getting there. One day she's going to love Harry Styles, and you heard it here first.
I don't think we're going to get that far, but who knows? You know,
I think we will.
Sure. And what are we watching this week?
We watched the first 2 episodes of First Kill together last night. However, Ivy has already watched it and read the book. Is it a book or a novella?
It's a short story. It was in what's the word? Something.
Oh, like an anthology.
Yeah, precisely. Thank you. And it was about vampires and first loves and all that. And Victoria Schwab, I don't know how to pronounce her name, wrote this First Kill story. It's like 30 pages. It was very short. And I listened to it as an audiobook, which was very good. But yeah, the book was fun. That's all I can say. And I did watch the show. Yeah. The thing is, this is a little spoilery for those who didn't see the show or read the book. Well, the story. The story is 30 minutes short and 30 pages, sorry. And it was until they kissed and Calliope staked her. So that was the first episode, was based on the story. And it ended with one of them saying, let the hunt begin. And they wanted to kill each other. And so the rest of the show is basically what we didn't see in the short story.
I mean, let's get this straight first. How amazing that we finally get like sapphic teenagers.
Without a doubt. How blood by teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. But did
What?
Netflix fork out on the budget for it?
I feel like
Questionable.
even Heartstopper, which is not fantasy show, got better budget for the CGI than they did. But no, not here. No. And I also saw someone on Twitter, I don't remember who, she kept track of how Netflix promoted Heartstopper and how they promoted First Kill. And Heartstopper was coming out like a promo for it at least once a week, something, and First Kill was promoted only once before it came out, which is the problem.
Yeah, I've seen lots of memes posted by Netflix about Heartstopper, but only really the trailer and the occasional post about First Kill. I mean, Stranger Things came out a couple of weeks ago as well, and ever since, all that's on Netflix's page is Stranger Things, which of course it's going to be because it's turning into a cult classic. But where's the promotion for minorities?
Exactly. And also when you take Shadow and Bone, which is also based on a book, and it was also like their original thing. It looked they built an entire set for just the ship or the fault or something. And they didn't have at least half of the money for First Kill. I wonder how is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about it. But another issue is that an article came out by Variety last week and it claimed that this was cliche and overdone. And I've never seen a teen vampire show before. Have you?
I didn't see a teen Sapphic show.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
let's start there.
Teen vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vampires, sure. I was thinking about it a lot about this show being very cringy and CGI not being good, which, yes, it's not better as The Vampire Diaries or Teen Wolf, but also those shows were coming out 10 years ago.
Yeah. And they were by different companies, different production companies.
And especially if Netflix now got Stranger Things, and you cannot tell me they didn't make a bunch of money on that.
Oh, yeah.
They could have spared something for First Kill. Yeah.
I think I saw like the budget for Stranger Things is around $30 million.
Nah.
So let's start there. But I don't know. Maybe if they come back for another season, we'll get a higher budget from what they've earned. But it seems to me like there's a pattern where Netflix cancels queer shows after the first season or the second or the third and keeps these, mass shows made for the mass audiences going. Riverdale. Riverdale.
Yeah,
for example.
Sadly.
I mean, there is a queer couple in Riverdale, but it's a wild ride.
It got weird now. They're not together. I think like that the last information that I got, I'm not sure if it's correct. What the Tony one got pregnant for some gay couple. I'm not sure I remember the names. And one of the guys left. So she ended up with the gay guy, and now they're getting married, and Cheryl is like casting curses on them or something. It got very weird.
Yeah, I have heard about Cheryl's witchy endeavors, and I must admit, I mean, we should probably watch an episode of that in the future for this podcast. Let's talk about the wild and wonderful, strange world of Riverdale and what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of what it's gonna do to my brain. Like, I also at the last episode I see was Archie fighting a bear. And that was when I was like, no, I'm drawing a line here.
Yeah.
And I'm a little scared of the jump. If I were to watch the newest episode, it's enough what I see on TikTok. I'm terrified of watching in 40 minutes of all this chaos.
I do believe, spoiler alert, that Hiram Lodge might actually be dead this time. So that's less time spent with Veronica saying daddy, which is already a bonus, I feel.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But also, is there like an angel of death now or something?
Probably. When I was watching it, there was a gargoyle king.
Yeah, that was yeah.
And apparently Betty's and the brother that Betty and Jughead share hired that.
They share a brother.
I'm so sorry to break this news to you.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they hired this guy who was the Gargoyle King. And now that guy, who is not their brother but was pretending to be, is going out with the actual brother. There's a lot going on there. I do think it would be fun to watch an episode. However, we digress.
Yeah.
We were talking about First Kill.
Yep. What is there to say about First Kill? There are a lot of, like, as we said, there are a lot of issues concerning the media coverage. Let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
And it is amazing to see like two teenagers, like this is weird from an adult point of view. But it's great to see two young women like making out.
Mm-hmm. In a non-sexual,
yes,
in a non-sexual way. Yeah.
For just like, to have it represented like that.
Yeah. For it's nice that the teenagers now get that, because we didn't have that.
No. We were talking about when we first saw ourselves represented, and we both agree it was quite recently, which I'm 23. Absolutely. You're 25.
20. I'm 24 until September. How dare you?
I knew there were 2 years, but I didn't know. I apologize. I apologize. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured out I was yeah, you should be.
I am but
not that old yet. I figured out I was pansexual when I was like 20. So it's literally like 4 years, 5 if you are Ivy. Of like knowing who I am. And that actually came a lot. I never had the media to help me with that. I created it myself. Like, I've realized that I was gay when I started writing sapphic women in my books. The first thing I ever wrote that was sapphic was like a witchy thing, and I love it. I wish I could go back to it actually. But yeah.
Well, let's hope you can. Yeah, I first realized that I'm not straight when I was like 14, but I could label it only when in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Rosa came out, and I was watching the interviews of Stephanie Beatriz and how she talked about her sexuality and the way she described what bisexual means to her, which is me and whoever they identify as. That was what I felt. Now I would probably, if I were to figure it out now, with all the information that I'm getting now, I would probably go for the pansexual label. However, I'm comfortable under bisexual, and because that's what the first thing I got, and I just found my home there. Yeah,
and that's beautiful. I mean, there is like a lot of similarities between pansexual and bisexual, and some people don't mind alternating.
Yes.
And like, if someone called me bi, I wouldn't particularly care. It was just that when I was figuring it out, it didn't seem to be what I was somehow. It felt more restrictive to me than, because I always felt very open. Like, I never really thought about it that much until I realized that I was more open to it. But even when I wasn't, I always thought like, I'm open to anything. And that's just what pansexual felt like to me. But everybody has their own meanings in what they label themselves with. And that's important as well. Because even now, I would say like pansexual isn't used as much as bi. The first time I ever saw a pansexual person in TV was sex education. And I don't think they were pansexual, but that was the first time I heard the word being used.
And in Schitt's Creek, did he use it, David? He used pansexual, right?
David! How could I forget about David?
I'm just thinking of, like, right, it's about the wine, not the label. Yeah.
About the wine, not the label. Did he? I can't remember if he specifically...
I think he did, because they were talking about it with Ronald.
With the
and
dad.
I think,
yeah.
I think they did use the label, but I may be like making things up, which I do usually.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. How could I forget David? Yeah.
Yeah. But that, even like what we're saying, like, it goes back to the fact that it's not, you don't know these words if you don't go searching for them. And that's a problem.
Yeah. And I think that's why it took me so long to realize that I was pansexual, because I didn't hear that word until I was figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it actually came from like Twitter, because everyone sees Twitter as this like awful place, but when you kind of grow up there are a lot of queer people there, and they do help you figure out who you are in a way. Yeah. And I think that's how that happened with me.
Yeah, same. I think I even learned about the word pansexual on Twitter, and only like a few years ago. It was around the time that I met you.
Yeah,
that is like quite recently ago.
It was.
And I'm thinking like where it was the first time I saw the word bisexual in a book. And if we're talking about the main characters, I think it was actually your books.
Oh,
which is beautiful, really? But also quite sad, because that's like sad, the last 2 years.
Yeah, it is. It's sad. But that's kind of why I write them as well, because they weren't there for me. But now I get to create them for other people, hopefully, if anybody decides.
And every time I read your book and I see the word pansexual, like my heart just does that little thing, because it's beautiful to see yourself like that.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah, it does. Even with like body types, which is something we should also, I think, talk about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where was the first time I was like, oh my God, this is like me. And I think it was Nina Zenik in Six of Crows. But I'm trying to figure out if I understood it from the books that she's fat, or from the fan art. And Lee having to go out and be like, she's beautiful, fat, confident girl, and represent her that way. But I'm not sure I specifically got it from the description of her character.
I think that a lot of authors are scared to use the word fat, which is understandable, because in the past it's been used as, you know, an insult. But it seems that then they then dilute the characters to be curvy, or, you know,
have big boobs.
Yeah, and never really focus on the flaws that we actually really want to see and that deserve to be loved more. I love putting stretch marks and shit like that in my books, and stomach rolls.
Yeah, you can use the word stomach rolls, that's fine. And if you don't want to use fat, which is understandable. Like recently I was talking to my friends and I described myself as fat because that's what I am, and I'm comfortable with that word. And she was like, oh, don't talk about yourself like that. But I don't take it as an insult. And they still do, which I understand. But I feel like it's time to take that power from that word, because it is a word of description.
Yeah, it is. And it's the same with chubby. Like, I'm technically mid-size, and I feel like because of that, I've always felt, even when I see a fat girl on TV, that's not me, because they have nice curves, and I'm kind of like, I describe myself as chubby in that, like, I don't have like a fat body, but I know that I'm not slim, and I've never seen myself in a slim person. But I've also find it difficult. I just want to see I would say normal, like normal bodies with flaws, and bigger stomachs than bums, and like bigger boobs than bums, or small boobs and big bums, like not disproportionate bodies. That's what I would like to see more. Just bodies like
that
aren't
precisely.
perfect.
Usually when I see these characters, because also again, like my hips are a little more narrow than the rest of my body. And it's always, I will never see that kind of person anywhere. So it is about time for writers and people in show business and who you're gonna cast as the characters to just look into the diverse body shapes in general.
Yeah, I really loved Dina Fox from Superstore, because she's not like, she doesn't have the hourglass figure that most fat women on TV would have, and she was just a normal body that you would see like on the street. Like she didn't have a Hollywood glossy, like tightened version of a fat body. It was just and it is important. Like you want to see people who look like you, because it makes you feel worthier if you do.
Precisely. I remember like when for my 18th birthday, I went to see the movies Wonder Woman, and was the first like that perfect female superhero movie. And I still remember that feeling that when I walked out of the cinema, I felt so empowered just to see a female superhero done actually well, because we have like Catwoman, there was Elektra, but it wasn't good. Let's be honest, it was overly sexualized. But Wonder Woman was it, and I was 18.
Yeah,
I was an adult when I saw that, and it's too late.
And that's the problem, I think, as a whole, just in the world, in society in general. We're not taught to love our bodies as they are. And that's the problem. And there is more being done now, but we've still got a long way to go. And it is a shame that we had to grow up that way, and also, that people are still growing up that way.
And it does get away means for your own education, in the sense of that, because if you don't see yourself and you don't really know who you are, it's harder to find a way to figure out who you are. I mean, I feel like we have to mention Olivia Dade and her books. Spoiler alert.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
All the feels. And I know she wrote more, which is, these are romantic books with plus size female main characters. And we read that like when 2 years ago was Spoiler Alert came out, 3 years ago,
something like
sort
that,
of like that. It was absolutely amazing. That was the character. She loved herself.
She did,
and she fought for herself.
Yeah,
and she stood up for herself, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
And you know, it was the first romance book I've read where the character had pubes.
Yes, yeah.
Like it's was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, because it's weird. I love seeing real things in books, like things that we've been taught to be ashamed of and don't have to be anymore. Like things that are celebrated now. That's beautiful.
Precisely. And it does take a little bit of that weight off of you when you read that or see that.
Thank you, Olivia Dade.
Yes. Bless you for that. Thank you.
With all the feels, she's not just described as a certain body type where she's just fat. She's described like she's shaped like a bird because she has thinner legs and she's like top heavy, and that was beautiful as well. Yeah, disproportionate bodies matter and they need to be represented more.
And this is a beautiful example of where you can describe plus size bodies in a beautiful, loving way. It can be done. You just have to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just beautiful.
And I think as an author, that should be, well, depending on your genre, of course, but especially with romance books, like, I think the best thing you can do is just celebrate diversity. That should really be a priority. Well, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but my priority would be to celebrate diversity because it's something different. And the same attractive white people on covers, straight white people, it's tired. First Kill was described as a tired take, but oh my God, how tired are we of the same white straight couples? Look on the Hallmark website. It's all you'll find.
That's the thing. We keep getting these same tropes with straight white couples.
Yeah.
And once we get it in with people of color or other sexualities or genders, suddenly it's overdone.
A cliche is good when it's for the right people, but when it's for marginalized people, it's a bad thing. And that's rubbish. I want cliches.
Precisely.
I want queer cliches.
Yeah, because that is about like the inner child and in a teenager, like you never got to see that. And even with now or in 10 or 50 years, I still want to see that and just have my chest warm because of I see this beautiful innocent sweet love between two women.
Knowing that generation gets that when we never did, that's just beautiful. It means that, you know, something paid off. We got somewhere in the end with it.
Precisely. When we were talking about the writers and having responsibility, naturally, like you said, everyone should do their own thing, but also you cannot be then shocked and surprised if people are going to call you out on it.
I think in this generation, if you're not committed to at least trying to be more diverse, then as a creator, then you're not really doing your job properly. Whether it's on purpose or just something as small as casting a person of this minority into this role.
Writers and creators do have such a responsibility because you are coming out, you are putting out things that will ultimately change how people think or how they view the world. And there lies a heavy responsibility. And if you want to do it, you have to do it with the responsibility.
Absolutely. Do you think that they took that responsibility with First Kill?
Actually, I've seen some discourse about it too.
Really?
Which we didn't get to the part where it was quite bad. So I don't know if I can spoil it to you a little bit.
Just spoil it.
Okay. The hunters are Black people. And the vampires are only white. I've seen people commenting on that and describing it in long on Twitter. I would have to find all the points that they made, and they were great points. That it made them uncomfortable to be watching that in sort of like reverse. That it wasn't the good take to take. Yeah, and I'm certainly not a person to talk about it. And this is what I saw and read. You will have to search it out. I'm happy to.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Yeah. I can see that. I mean, the reverse, like, racism has been done before. Yeah. I think you can tell when a creator is not from the minority that they're trying to represent. Yeah. In a way. I mean, I don't know who is behind that, but...
Me neither. I mean, I know that Victoria Schwab did produce it as a creator, but there are more people than her. Yeah. But I also saw something about her too, so I'm not sure. A few points that I had to this was also it's taken place in Savannah. And later on, there's this sort of like monster hunt. So there are mobs going after monsters. And yeah, it got a lot worse. And I can see that now, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that as well. Interesting. Yep. But on the whole, I mean, when have you ever seen a queer Black woman, teenager, in media before? It's very rare. I mean, yeah. For representation to be done well, you need to represent the creator as well. Yeah. And you have to put into the writer's chair the correct people to do so. And if you're not going to do it, then be ready for the backlash because it's going to come. Yeah. Killing Eve. Killing Eve. Oh my.
We'll get to that.
I don't know what you're talking about. It ended with happy end.
Yeah, they kissed and ran into the sunset. Yeah,
it was precisely a kiss on the boat. It was happily ever after. There were no issues whatsoever.
Exactly.
This is me living in denial. I'm happy here.
We have to.
We truly do.
We'll talk about Killing Eve in another episode. We have so much to say. The day it came out, we just were sending Snapchats to each other for like 2 hours about all the reasons why it was awful. So that might be a very long episode, but we'll definitely get to that.
But it kind of does deserve a very long episode, because we were sort of counting on the happy end, or sort of them to end it nicely. And when they didn't, you realize a lot of issues that were there in the entire season. So, yep.
A lot. And I can't wait to get into that.
Same. Because I have to rent, and I will for the rest of my life, because that was the greatest disappointment of my life.
As you should.
Yeah.
But we're also always looking for more queer media to discuss. So if you have any suggestions, please get in contact with us and tell us what we need to talk about next. There is so many. Yeah. The more, the merrier. Thank you for listening to our first episode of Swords and Sapphics. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any idea what else we could discuss, please let us know. Remember to support women's wrongs. But most importantly, support women's. Wait. You said it. I said it. I thought you said only the first part. I fucked it up. We support. Right, let's try again. Fucked it up together. Okay. We support women's rights. But most importantly, we support women's wrongs. So the more stabby woman you have, the better. And we want them all. All of them. Yes. Always. Do you want to do our beautiful goodbyes? Oh, yeah. Okay. So should we explain it first? Yeah, okay. So how did it even start? We have specific goodbye for each other. We do. I think I started it. It's very common in the UK to say goodbye with "see you later, alligator," and then the other person replies with "in a while, crocodile." So that's what we started to do. A thing. Yeah. So now we end each conversation, including the podcast, with these simple words. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile.